For centuries, it was the world's most famous loser, a punchline for stupidity, a symbol of failure, a creature so bizarre, so clumsy, so doomed that we turned its very name into an insult. But what if almost everything you think you know about this dodo is wrong? This is a real story, not a story of a foolish bird, but a story of a tragic encounter, a story of an ecosystem shattered in a geological blink of an eye. This is a surprising, shocking, and heartbreaking true extinction story of the dodo. Our story begins not on a ship but on an island, a pristine volcanic jewel in an Indian Ocean east of Madagascar, Mauritius. For millions of years, this island was a world apart, a laboratory of evolution cut off from the rest of the planet. Here, without any mammalian predator, birds ruled the roost, and they evolved in incredible ways. And then there was Rufus cucullatus, the dodo. Forget the fat, silly caricature. The dodo was a superbly adapted island survival. The giant beak, perfect for cracking open hard tropical nuts and fruits. Its robust skeleton, built for navigating dense forest undergrowth. Its weight, a strategic reserve of fat for surviving cyclones and droughts. This wasn't a failed creature, it was the undisputed king of Mauritius. It had no fear of predators because for millennia there was none. Why would it need to fly? Its food was on the ground. Its safety was its isolation. The dodo wasn't stupid, it was innocent. This innocence, this perfect adaptation to a perfect world, was its greatest vulnerability, because the outside world was about to arrive. The first contact likely wasn't an invasion, but a shipwreck. Sometimes around the late 16th century, Portuguese and Arab sailors knew of the island, but it was Dutch who officially discovered it in 1598. Imagine being one of those starving, scurvy-ridden sailors. You stumble onto this paradise and you see a walking feast, a bird that doesn't fly away, that doesn't fear you. The sailors called them Volgvogels, or disgusting birds. Their meat was tough and oily, but when you're starving, you're not picky. The hunting began. But here's the first surprise: the sailors alone didn't wipe out the dodo. They were a factor, yes, but the real apocalypse came with the stowaways, the creatures that scurried down the ropes and hid in the cargo holds of those ships. Rats, pigs, cats, and monkeys. These invasive species were the true bringers of doom. The dodo nested on the ground. It laid one single large egg. For the rats, it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. For the pigs, it was eggs, chicks, and the very food the dodos relied on. The monkeys joined the feast. The dodos, evolutionarily naive, had no defense. Their reproductive cycle was shattered in a single generation. The human didn't just bring hunters, they brought an entire shadow army of ecological wrecking balls. It was a perfect storm of destruction. The end came not with a bang, but with a whisper. The last dodo likely died sometime in the late 17th century, alone in a shrinking patch of forest, its calls for a mate going unanswered, and the world barely noticed. By the time scientific world in Europe became truly curious, it was too late. The dodo was already gone, fading into myth. For over a century, many scientists believe the dodo was just a legend, a mariner's tall tale. It became a cautionary fable, a symbol of obsolescence. We blamed the victim. We called it dumb for not adapting to the hell we unleashed upon it. But the story doesn't end there. The most surprising chapter was yet to be written. In the last 30 years, we have finally started to listen, and we are learning how wrong we were. Paleontologists and biologists have scoured Mauritius, piecing together the dodo's world, and the revelations are stunning. We now know that the dodo was a highly specialized and successful species. We have used CT scans to create 3D models of its skull, revealing a large brain with well-developed olfactory lobes. It likely had a great sense of smell. And perhaps the most surprising twist of all, the dodo's ecological role. It was a keystone species. That giant beak was used to eat the fruit of the tambala cock tree, often called the dodo tree. For centuries after the dodo went extinct, these trees stopped reproducing. Scientists theorized the seeds needed to pass through the dodo's digestive system to scarify them and germinate. The dodo and the tree had a symbiotic relationship for millions of years in the making. When we killed the dodo, we nearly killed the forest. The dodo wasn't a resident of its ecosystem, it was a vital architect of it. Its extinction caused a cascade of destruction we are only now understanding. The stupid bird, it turns out, held the key to its entire world, and we broke that key. So the story of the dodo is not one of comedy, it is one of tragedy, humility, and warning. It is the story of what happens when an advanced mobile species collides with an isolated, vulnerable one. The dodo was the first clear, undeniable case of humanity driving a species to extinction, but it was not the last. Its story is a mirror. We see our own power, our own carelessness reflected in its fate, but in its rediscovery, we also see a path to redemption, to understanding, to protecting the unique and vulnerable creatures we have left before they too fade into myth. The dodo's last laugh taught us a lesson we can never afford to forget. Thanks for watching. What lesson did you take from the dodo's story? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to help protect the species we have left, consider supporting conservation organizations like the World Wildlife Fund or the Rural Wildlife Conservation Trust. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories from our planet's incredible past. Until next time, bye.